Let's begin with the NGX. And when people hear the NGX, they think of big companies, blue chip companies. Where do MSMEs stand? What opportunities does the NGX offer to MSMEs? And we know across the world, there are exchanges that incorporate or are MSMEs friendly. So what is the NGX doing in that regard?
Yes, thank you very much. I think for us, as far as MSMEs are concerned, but the idea of knowing the significance and importance of small-scale, medium-scale businesses in developing economy, we initiated what we used to call second-tier securities as far back as 1985, wherein some of the companies that came into to be listed then have now matured and they are now in the main board. So as we speak today, we've been changing those rules to reflect current practices. So as we have today, we have what we call growth board. You know, the listings requirement is there, and we've lowered the listing requirement so that we can attract and encourage more Nigerian companies to participate in that. We did not only lower the listings requirement while we're not compromising on standard, we've also ensured that for you to be listed, you know, the cost of listing is around 250,000, 200 plus, depending on what you want to raise. And it's also good that people should know that if your market capitalization is about 50 million, you can actually list on the exchange. And listings on that exchange will give you the required visibility, because one of the things we also do is that, you know, we support you with advisors who will guide you and make sure that they support you, take you through the an incubation program that encourages you to understand the rules. How do you comply with the rules with minimal cost? We give you coverage so that people knows the company, they know what you're doing, and they even know the product or the service you are rendering. And that would not only that you are deriving the benefit of listings, you are also deriving patronage in terms of what people can do. We also back it up with what we call market making programs, such that it's not only that, oh, I'm a small company, nobody knows me, and I'm listed. If you're trading, people are providing liquidity so that activity can continue to happen on your board. One other thing that we're doing in that space is to work with Bank of Industry and other development banks who are advancing maybe grants, you know, single digit rate for SME. We work with them to create what we call a pipeline and provide capacity development, such that these companies, they know what and how to raise capital and how to attract capital. Not only that, one of the things we also do is to provide capacity development, financial literacy, such that these small companies too can use the capital market to manage their treasury functions. So, and we do a lot of things. Again, you know, we have what we call the fact behind the figures, where we give people the platform to address the whole world, sharing their information with them, and we prepare them for listings readiness, and also to attract investors locally and internationally.
Indeed.
Thank you.
And so let's make this a little practical. I'm staying with you, right? I'm an MSME. I see these big companies come to the market, issue public offers, write issues, and they raise billions, right, of naira. And I want to take advantage of that opportunity. What are first steps?
I mean, the first step is I want to assume you are a listed company. You are a registered company, because you must be registered for you to do whatever it is that you are doing. You must have been in business for a minimum of 2 years so that we can have your track record. What are the products you are preparing? Once all those things are ready, you will have to work with a financial advisor who will prepare the prospectus, because you want to raise capital now. And prospectus is not something that is just a detail, a report, similar to annual account, that details what are the things you are doing, who are the people managing your company, what are the board of directors. It gives basic information so that investors can use that information to value that company. Once you have all those things, you understand, the next thing is you approach an investment advisor who now go through SEC to register that capital raise. And once it's registered, you can go ahead and raise the capital, and that instrument will be listed so that people can trade. Whoever did not participate initially can still have the opportunity of participating, and those that entered at the primary, they can have opportunity to exit. And let me also say this: it is not only shares, equities, that is the only source of capital that you can raise in the capital market. There's preference shares, there's commercial paper, there's corporate bonds. So all these other people who knows about some of these things, they also use those opportunity to raise capital in the market to expand their businesses.
This $1 trillion economy is looking more and more possible. Thank you very much. Let's come now to, I won't say your rival, but the secondary market, NASD, to Mr. Longe, the MDC of NASD. Oh, yes, they collaborate, they say. All right. So we know that your board also offers, a range of options for companies seeking investments. Just very briefly, run us through the opportunities the NASD presents to MSMEs to take advantage and raise more capital to scale.
Can I deviate from answering that question and say something practical?
Okay.
Right? Okay, so NGX has done all the work, so there's nothing left for us to do. However, this is it. All of these things frighten small businesses away. All of these structures, prospectuses, 3-year information, shares, preference shares, bonds, commercial papers, and all of that, they are high-minded stuff. So the MSMEs think about it. They are living, their life is existential, right? So they look and say to themselves, these are ivory towers, and we will not come here, right? So for us, the first thing is to understand what is the DNA of these entities. It's important for us because this is not the first time we've tried initiatives for micro organizations in the capital markets, but they haven't succeeded. And it is simply for this reason. The processes are too heavily layered such that they can't approach, right? So for NASD, what we thought to do is this. First and foremost, we have to understand how we can simplify the access to these companies. And how do we do that? We have a portal. You can put your information on the market.
Do you want to state that here for those listening?
Yes, it's called the NASD Enterprise Portal, right? And it is an automated marketplace where you can put your information. Yes, some of the high-minded information that has been spoken about. But just like Mr. Babalola said, you can't approach the market if you do not have some kind of structure. So you must be at least an incorporated company rather than just a business name. And you must have like 2 years track record. You put your information on, you are introduced to a financial advisor, and then you can also be linked with an investor group. But you see, the thing is this. What we found is that with all of these good things, people are still finding it a bit difficult because you have to ask yourself, how do you move? Is it the content you are creating or the liquidity? So it is a significantly illiquid market. People do not want to invest in things that are not tested, right? And much of what we have said here today has been focused on the debt market. Most of these MSMEs will survive more on the equities market or co-investor markets. And so we're having to crack that problem. It isn't
why is that? Why do you assume they'll survive more on the debt market than...
No, they'll survive more on the equities market
than the debt market.
Because you see, look, if you're anything that you're doing that is above single digits, right? You are walking a very tight rope. There's a policy, there's a concept called the concept of 72. If you divide 72 by the rate of interest that you're getting, you see just how many years it's going to take you to be able to pay your loan back. So they're all walking a tightrope. So we have to be able to increase the possibility of getting SMEs either funded by single-digit interest or start getting equity investors to come to fund them. And this is the last point that I'll make here. I mean, before maybe it comes round. I think that it is all so informal and fractionalized that we don't even know where the SMEs are. So in NASD, what we're trying to do is to build a functional directory of these SMEs. First and foremost, let us have line of sight of where they are. And when we know where they are, we can then begin to stratify them, because not all SMEs are the same. There is a very interesting concept called the legacy transfer SMEs. Companies that have been founded by very rich people, perhaps, they are transiting, their children are no longer here, and those entities are actually going to die along with them. So that is also another category. So you have to stratify all of them, and you need to build a directory of that's what we're trying to do.
Wonderful and exciting stuff. And I am staying with you. We had Mr. Abimbola allude to the partnership, between NASD and NGX, and I want to stay with partnerships. What partnerships are you fostering, right, to help the MSMEs, whether it's fintech, development finance institutions, to just expand the pool of non-bank finance for MSMEs?
So NGX is a shareholder in NASD, so we have no choice but to partner. But they are our big brothers. Sometimes they bully us a little bit here and there. But yes, we partner. And I think that the collaboration is such that the analogy I normally give is that NGX is flying a 33-foot trajectory while we are flying helicopters, right? So we can see a little bit more of the terrain than they can. And we're supposed to transmit that information to the 33-foot level, right? So most of the companies cannot access the NGX because of their requirements, most of them. But they can access NASD because the requirements are slightly less, and the amounts that they can access from the market, if we will be practical, are slightly lower on NASD. So we can build the case and we can hand the baton to them in time. And in some cases, they may need to transmit some of that, some of those prospects to NASD. So that's the kind of collaboration we need to build, and I think more than anything else, like Mr. Agbaje said, knowledge sharing, right? Effective knowledge of the business. And and that's another thing that the SMEs really need to know, and that's what we need to work on. We need to build clinics, and we need to distill sectors, and then set targets for what we will want to see. So is it agriculture? If we're going to do maize, why can we get maize to a point where we are completely self-sufficient in production of maize and importation goes down? That can be a joint objective of our market. How do you get the logistics to work? How can we work and engage government to see that the railways become more effective? There's so many of those things that we can partner in, and achieve bigger results.
Hopefully we see the fruits of such partnerships in time to come, and in time for the $1 trillion economy we are all gunning for.